Man, wow. I just want to take the time, just take the time in this video to backtrack to Saturday night. And I'm going to say Saturday was a wild night for fighting, for both UFC and boxing, period. Because I got a chance to see, I'm sharing my thoughts on both fights. I got a chance to see both the Pacquiao-Marquez fight as well as the Valasquez title defense, the UFC fight. And first I just want to take a quick moment to address the UFC fight. And I saw that and I was just surprised. I was absolutely stunned by the outcome and how quick the fight ended. Time to time, I tune in, I watch UFC, whatever, and UFC's definitely gained a strong following, strong credibility. It's sure as heck, UFC is definitely not wrestling out of the water a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? So UFC's already blown wrestling out, and so far at this point is blowing out, pretty much blowing out boxing. Even though I'm primarily a boxing fan myself, but the UFC has definitely gained very strong ground, with their with the light heavyweight division and stuff like that. But with the heavyweights, this was a heavyweight title fight, and I was out of disbelief. I didn't expect the fight. I didn't expect the fight to end that quickly. So I talked to I sent a message to a friend of mine on Facebook. I put it on, posted on my wall. It was like, I just said Cain Valasquez got knocked the heck out. I couldn't use the other word. So he got beat. Not only did he lose, but he lost badly, and I don't know what other way to describe it. I almost felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. I didn't expect the fight to end that quick, because now, see, the bad thing about it was that leading up to this fight, Velasquez had been undefeated. So the thing is, not only has his undefeated streak been broken, but he was embarrassed. He got squashed. Cain Valasquez Saturday night on UFC, whatever, 146, 150, whatever it is, Saturday night got squashed. Bottom line, Velasquez got squashed, and this looks bad on UFC's part, especially in the heavyweight division. I know Dana White did not expect something like this to happen. Neither did any of the promoters, the fans, the bookers, what have you. No one expected for this to happen because the fight only went as far as the first round. The fight ended. The fight ended in the first round, and it ended a minute into it, a minute and 4 seconds to be exact, in the first round. So next thing I know, like the fight's just barely starting. The fight's just barely starting, and then all of a sudden, Velasquez goes down. Down goes Velasquez. Down goes Velasquez, and all of a sudden I see his opponent. All of a sudden I see his opponent running around the ring and jumping on the cage and celebrating. I'm like, what's going on? Isn't Velasquez gonna get up? And so then I realized he just got beat like that. He just got squashed that badly. So for UFC, the heavyweight, as far as that division, doesn't look that good. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as the buy rates and things like that. And that was only the first part of my bizarro night of fights. And so of course we all know, this is the big part of my video, the Pacquiao, Manny Pacquiao versus Juan Manuel Marquez, part 3. The trilogy, part 3. Um, clearly Pacquiao was not firing on all cylinders. He was not on, on his A's and B's, on his P's and Q's. Clearly, his timing was off, his rhythm was off. He was taking his time. He wasn't assertive enough, and Pacquiao got schooled. He got schooled. He got Marquez took him back to the gym. He took Pacquiao straight back to the gym, and Marquez is one of the guys that's on Floyd Mayweather. Marquez is also a guy who's another notch on Floyd Mayweather's belt. As far as his undefeated streak goes, because Mayweather's fought Marquez and whooped him. Whereas with Pacquiao, Marquez, really held his own, and really he outboxed Pacquiao. He outclassed Pacquiao, and I was very surprised. I was on the edge of my seat because honestly, I picked Pacquiao because I just want to see this stinking fight between him and Mayweather finally happen. So that all this ducking each other back and forth could finally end May 5th, so it could be set in stone and official. But Pacquiao's performance was a very bad sign of what could happen. Of what could happen, what may happen in his fight against Mayweather, because that showed that if Pacquiao couldn't hold off and just pound the living daylights out of the guy who's a guy who's clearly pushing the curve and turning clearly pushing up the hill, pushing over the hill and turning pushing 40. If Pacquiao couldn't hold off a guy like that, what makes you think? What makes me or anybody else clearly possibly think that that this fight with Mayweather is really going to be is going to be a classic? I know it's going to still going to draw a huge like tons and tons of money anyway. Because too much has been invested in this thing in the first place. For it not to happen. But Pacquiao's performance, that was a really bad sign, for Pacquiao. And I guess I made a joke, saying apparently on Facebook I said it looks like Pacquiao didn't drink his juice tonight, because clearly this wasn't his best fight, and I guess that rhymes, but clearly this was definitely not Manny Pacquiao's best performance. This was not his best fight at all, not by any measure, not by any standard, not by any calculation. Because if this is the same man, just like who's built as just like Mayweather is, as the best pound for pound fighter, and two worlds are going to collide on May 5th. Both of these guys have had strong arguments of being the best pound for pound fighter, and their fight on May 5th is going to prove once and for all who is truly the better fighter. Now, with this, now the pendulum is it looks like it's starting to swing towards Mayweather, not just because he's undefeated, but also because because A, he performed better against Marquez, and B, he performed better against Marquez. B, because of his recent victory against Ortiz, and C, the way Pacquiao squandered against Marquez. And now, as far now just into the fight itself, just into the fight itself, Marquez was taking some very strong shots at Manny Pacquiao, and Pacquiao was not assertive. He was not aggressive, because we all know that if Marquez just stood there and got into a brawl, an all-out brawl with Pacquiao, Pac-Man would eat him alive. Pac-Man would destroy him. But Marquez was smart in that. He was smart in the sense that that he moved around and he caught Pac-Man off guard, and so and all throughout the fight, Pac-Man was just looked to me like he was just taking his time. He wasn't moving around as much. He was just taking his time, whereas Marquez was landing more vicious shots than Pacquiao. He was delivering more blows that stood out more. Marquez's punches stood out more than Pacquiao's punches, when it's supposed to be the other way around. If you're the guy who is arguably, besides Mayweather, the best pound for pound fighter in the business right now, and so Pacquiao did not have any highlight worthy stuff in the fight whatsoever. And so I don't know if it's because I don't know what to say. I don't know if it's because he didn't take his juice, or or his body's just his body's trying to learn how to adjust without it, or whatever. Because both him and Mayweather, I wish they would just I wish both of them would just stand up as men and stop ducking each other, take the stupid test, get it over with, and as Mills Lane would say, let's get it on. And so I'm sure Mayweather, I'm sure Mayweather was thinking, as well as many other hardcore boxing fans such as myself. We were looking at it like, Pac-Man, please don't lose, because let me tell you this: if Pacquiao lost by knockout, if Marquez beat Pacquiao by knockout, TKO, or decision, so much money would get flushed right down the toilet. It will get flushed right down the drain if Pacquiao lost that way. Because there's the promoters, from Bob Arum and everybody else, all over the World Boxing Association, I think they put so much, they have invested so much money into this fight, and if it wasn't going to happen, then all that money would be flushed right down the drain. And so obviously that's why Pacquiao got the extra points. Pacquiao won 116 to 112, I believe. Yeah, he won the fight 116 to 112. So obviously, if the judges gave him the extra points, because so much was riding, so much is on the line, so much is riding on the fight with him and Mayweather, that there's no possible way that nobody, that they weren't, that fight was not going to happen. There was no possible way that the World Boxing Association was going to sit there and allow this fight not to happen, allow this title defense not to occur. So like I said, this part of the video was more so the media part of the video, my thoughts on the Pacquiao-Marquez fight, and so I think their legacies and careers and where they stand all time, I believe this really this fight, all that stuff really hinges on this fight, and all I gotta say, all I have to say is, may the best man win, and oh yeah, but also the thing is, what I find so funny is they both fought the same opponents. They both fought, guys who were either washed up, shells of their former selves, like guys like Oscar De La Hoya and Sugar Shane Mosley, or either them or guys that they just pretty much just scrubs or whatever. Somebody like Ricky Hatton, who Mayweather, who Pac-Man and Mayweather both beat the brakes off of easily with no sweat. So Yeah, I mean, definitely. So now, neither one has an excuse for this bout, not to happen. So let's get ready to rumble. May the best man win.